Will you stop buying comics if they go digital? A lot of people say this. In fact, whenever I do a video talking about digital and talking about how we actually need to do something about it, that there needs to be a plan for digital. There's always a fair decent amount of people that come in and say, if comics go digital, I'm out. That's my end point of collecting comics. So first off, is that you? But then second, I have a question. A lot of the same people, in fact, in many cases, the exact same people, talk about how piracy is okay, and that piracy helps lead them to comic sales. That they've pirated things, and then that's led them to buy them. So I'm struggling here because the piracy that you're doing is digital. So help me out. Hey everybody, this is Perch. This is one of those ones where I feel like there's a really simple answer, but it doesn't it's not coming across. And that is why is it was the same exact people, and not to humiliate people, I'm not going to throw screenshots up on the thing, but you can just go look at the comments of several of my videos and you'll see people saying, especially when you go to piracy, the videos where I talk about that, there's a lot of people come in and they defend piracy by saying that, hey, if it wasn't for piracy, they wouldn't be buying, they wouldn't be seeing books. They find a lot of really cool exciting books, they pirate them, and then they go to their store and they buy the physical copies. Now, not getting into that argument, because I think that I kind of question that whole path a little bit. I'm a little skeptical that happens exactly as stated. And it is kind of like it's like, if how many things are you pirating? If you're pirating like 500 comics and then, hey, these three are really good and you buy those, I'm not sure that's like the most stellar argument for piracy you could make. But whatever. Um, not getting into that debate. But at the same time, a lot of the exact same people, and then others, will say things like, if comics went digital, if they stopped printing floppies, they're done. They're out. They're not gonna keep going to comics at all. They hate the digital reading experience, which is fair enough. By the way, this video is not here me trying to convince you that you should like that format or anything else. You know what you like. That's your business. But if you're one of those people that pirates books, you are pirating them digitally. You are getting them digitally. There's not some secret underground kind of physical floppy piracy network, is there? Is there like I'm picturing like a van that goes through and it says like free comics on the side of it, but they're pirated, but they're physical, and somehow like they intercepted like a bunch of diamond trucks, and while when they're stopped at a traffic light, like somebody's going underneath the truck with like a little blowtorch and they're cutting a hole in the bottom, and then they're sneaking the comics out the bottom while the truck's at the traffic light. I've watched too many movies. Anyway, you're pirating them digitally. You're reading them that way. In some cases, you're reading them to the point where you like enough of what you see that you go out and you buy them. Let's assume that you are. Let's actually assume for a moment that all the people who's pirating digital stuff are actually converting those into a purchase. You still started with digital. If the experience was so terrible, why were you prompted to go buy it? Why did you choose to spend the money to convert to print? And at the same time, if, let's say for a moment, tomorrow we wake up and we're told there is no more physical comic printing, floppies are over, cold turkey, they're gone. If you want to read the latest adventures of anything, you're going to read it digitally. Are you really out? And I mean, now you got to question a little bit. Is your need to kind of read whatever it is you like, Batman, the X-Men, Spawn, whatever? Is it really, is digital so repulsive to you that you will just give up on that character and you'll go to what exactly? You will go to games, movies, like what are you're going to something else digital, right? Is there some other, are you going to books? Like maybe you're going to nonfiction. You're gonna get that membership at Barnes and Noble and you're gonna go all in on books. Is that what's happening? And by the way, I'm not saying this to mock anybody. I know it kind of sounds that way. I'm sorry for that. But I'm really trying to get at the bottom of, one, why is digital so offensive to people? Why is it such a terrible reading experience that you would be willing to give up on comics completely? It strikes me as this: if pushing to digital is going to make you give up on comics completely, then my suspicion is that you're barely in comics today, meaning you know the comics are not exciting, and you're just kind of there out of habit, or there because you are a collector but you don't really care about the content anymore inside the comic. I suspect if going to digital was going to completely get you to walk away from comics completely, then I would suspect you're pretty close to walking away now. Again, I may be wrong about this. And for the record, again, just to eliminate all doubt, printed copies are better for me. I definitely like holding the printed copy. Absolutely. I read a ton of comics digitally because I have to, because I'm traveling, because of a lot of different reasons. I'm reading comics digitally a lot of the time. And there is no denying for me that the print experience is far superior. Far. So please, that is not my argument. You don't need to convince me that print is better than digital. I don't think that print is so much better than digital than if there was no print, I would stop reading entirely. I would keep reading. I may not be thrilled with it, and I may miss the days of print, and I may buy more graphic novels, for example, than floppies, and I may choose to consume comics differently because I just like that experience better. But I wouldn't walk away entirely. So I'm really curious in the comments below, if that's you, you would go completely, you're done entirely if it went all digital. Why? And please don't think you have to defend yourself. I'm honestly just looking for the why. You don't need to come in and convince anyone that you're doing something good or bad, or that you're an actual comic fan. I'm just going to assume everybody is what they say they are. They are a comic fan. They're in. But what is it about digital that's so transformationally painful for you that you would not, you would be willing to walk away from comics entirely to do it? And then what are you replacing it with? Are you replacing it with something digital? I'm just out of curiosity. I think that it's a question that more publishers and creators should be looking at kind of head on, with open ears. I noticed that a lot of these comments, when they get rolled out and a creator's involved, the creator typically, not typically, I don't know, it sometimes gets a very hostile response like, oh, F you, or you're not a real comic fan, or just a very, very kind of angry gut reaction back. And I get the temptation, I guess, but I think there's something to be learned here, because the inevitable is simply that, in the future, don't know when, we'll be consuming all of these things digitally. The idea that we're printing stuff on paper and handing it around is an idea that will come to an end, either by resources or convenience or all the rest. It is going to stop. And so it's not going to be around forever. Your great-great-grandchildren will 100% not be reading physical copies. Pretty decent chance your children may not. But your great-great-grandchildren, absolutely not. So this is inevitable at some point, much like flying cars and jetpacks. But it's not today. So I think that a lot of creators, a lot of publishers really need to listen to what the barriers are. By the way, one other example that comes up a little bit is, if everything went digital, it would give twofold. One, you'd be then renting the comic, meaning if you bought the comic and it lives on a service somewhere, that they could take it away from you at some point and basically take your money with it, kind of like a microtransaction in a game. That is a bad business model plan, but it's not a reality of digital. And what I mean by that is companies can very easily offer downloadable PDFs. They can offer encrypted thing. There's a lot of ways that they could still offer a download. If it's only cloud-based and they're not giving you any kind of download, that's a business decision they're making. That's not a limitation of digital. That's kind of two separate things, and that is dodgy. But anyway, the other argument that I hear a lot is that if it was digital, then people could change the comics kind of on a whim. So let's say you bought Batman Damned digitally, and you're really happy because you've got that bat penis in there, right there in the shadow. But then DC finds out about the penis, and they replace the panel in the comic with one without a penis, and now you've been cheated out of a penis. So if that's something you worry about, then yeah, I mean, digital does have that flaw, I guess. But is that something you're really worried about? Kind of, after sale censorship. Is it something that is a concern of yours? And once again, I think comics can be, as long as the company is offering download or some kind of physical storage that you control, then that worry should go away. But at any rate, are you willing to walk away from comics completely if they go digital only? If you pirate books, what's the difference between pirating them and not? And again, one other option that you may throw out here is they're too expensive. So you might say, I grit my teeth, but I'll pay the $4.99 for a physical comic book. But if I'm going to buy it on an iPad, then it sure as hell better not be $4.99. Okay, I get that. I totally get that. But these are the real things, the examples that I think need to come out. We need to discuss, and hopefully some people in the industry are paying attention to it. So here's hoping. So let me hear it. Leave your comments below. What do you think of all this? Where does all this stuff go, and how do you feel? Like I said, leave me a comment below. Follow me on social media. Send me an email at comicsperch at Gmail. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much for all of that. And most importantly, thanks for listening.